So I really love the kitchen garden this time of year. It's kind of my favourite place to be. I'm going to take you on a tour. So it's a very practical garden, very easy to look after by comparison with the allotment. It takes about an hour a week. Start off in this little corner. This is where I do all my hardening off. So around this edge here we've got green garlic. That'll soon be tomatoes. Those are the tomatoes. Got some beetroot, some squash, some lettuce, some celery, some peas, and happy down there. And red, well, it said red tatsoi, but it's actually pak choi. And I've got a few onions in there. Gorgeous bed of lettuce. Just harvesting the radishes and spring onions out of here. That's where those little lettuce seedlings are going. And then these look absolutely gorgeous, as good as flowers. So yeah, those are shallots, red sun I think. Cherry tree, very old now, but still pretty useful. And garlic, I've just popped some onions interplanted in here, just a few spares. Leeks, and again interplanted with onions. I can't bear to waste anything, so anything that's left over just gets squeezed in. Leeks interplanted with onions, and that's the Mikado spinach. So I'm hoping that'll be ready for harvest next week, because our trusty overwintered spinach is all going to seed. We've probably only got one harvest left over it. Badminton net, and then back here more green garlic and just a few potatoes. I'll show you most of the potatoes in a minute. And empty tubs, just waiting for courgettes, little apple tree, and these are red overwintered onions, and they're not that big, are they? But that's because this bed hardly gets any sun, and these are peas that have got ravaged by slugs and snails, so I've got a new batch to replace those, and these are looking not too bad. I had to put some slug pellets down there. This is carrots, this is parsnips, and I would normally net my carrots, but we have this walled garden here, and it seems to be pretty resistant to carrot fly. Down here by the blue tit we've got parsnips interplanted with onions, and so all these parsnips are up now and ready for thinning, and I just snip off any surplus. And so I'm pretty pleased with these. It's nice that they've germinated well, even in this really rough compost, which is actually spent mushroom compost. And then we've got the same down here, so more parsnips. And I've got early parsnips as well on the allotment, so these are my main crop. And I've got a few French beans, and then this bed's really colettes, but right now it's spinach and lettuce and all sorts of radish and all sorts of stuff, but I'll have to take those out pretty soon, because otherwise the colettes will get overwhelmed. And then in these pots down here we've got yacon tubers, which have been in the garage kind of frost free, and they're just starting to come up now, although I don't think that's yacon, I think that's a potato, but anyway, it doesn't matter, it's coming up. And then I've got my fruit beds, so these are the late strawberries, so these are just starting to come into flower, whereas the second earlies on the allotment and the first earlies on the allotment, well, the first earlies are all ready now and we're eating those, gorgeous, and second earlies are just awash with flowers, and so these come in succession. And yeah, we're looking forward to having strawberries at home now, because that's a decent sized bed. And I've also just got some little Brussels sprouts here. This bed is a bit very shaded in winter, but I'm hoping it gets enough sun to grow the Brussels sprouts, and they'll just hold then into winter. They won't grow any at all because obviously there's no sun, but Got blueberries down here, and just a few flowers, red geraniums, so more blueberries. And unfortunately we had a cut in here from a gooseberry, but it's died. And yeah, anyway, more blueberries, more gooseberries, more blueberries, more gooseberries, more blueberries. Blueberries, you know, they do pretty well, but I do tend to lose the odd plant when it's really cold in these containers. I'm not sure whether I'd lose them if they were in the ground, but anyway, it was very cold last year, so I don't mind replacing the odd plant. And then down here, this is going to be all red cabbage, but right now it's red cabbage and it's salad onions. And so I was just looking at these salad onions because these were interplanted with lamb's lettuce, and so that was the same in this bed. It was all salad onions and lamb's lettuce, and we just harvested these salad onions and we're just gradually clearing this bed. So in a week or maybe 10 days time or something, this bed will be cleared and red cabbage will go in here. And then down here we've got more garlic, and you can see probably that this garlic's a lot smaller than the garlic in the other beds because it's in shade for a lot of the time. And that's one of the things about gardening in a home garden. There's just loads of shade. Like this bed here will be in shade from sort of 3 or 4 o'clock, but in winter it's pretty much in shade all the time. So you do have to kind of pick your spots, and I like that about gardening at home. By comparison with the allotment where there's a lot more sun. And down on this wall, it's all raspberries, and that's where I was sitting when I started this video, just chilling out. I've got another cherry tree there behind that canopy. And then down the drive we've got apple, 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 cherry, 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 pear, cherry. And it's always lovely to be able to just pop out of the kitchen and harvest those. And then we've got potatoes, and then potatoes all the way down here. We used to do potatoes on this side as well, but it looks like there's a lot of space, but it turns out that there isn't quite as much space once the potatoes are in full growth. Anyway, that's it for today. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.